everyone, and welcome to Gender Talk 211 show. My name is Eva Lopa, and I am your host. On today's episode, we host an award-winning journalist, the one and only Maura Ajak. Please welcome to Behind the Headlines.
Welcome to the show, Maura.
Thank you.
How are you
Eva.
doing?
I'm doing good. Pushing on so far.
It's been a while. I haven't seen you in a minute.
Yes.
Busy? What's going on with Maura these days?
The usual. Digging deeper
Okay.
on the surface sometimes.
We'll go into it. We'll go
Yeah.
deeper into it. So I've known you for quite some time now.
Yes.
And I think you've been a friend of Gender Talk show for quite some time as well, but you've never been
Since-
on the show.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So officially, welcome.
Thank you.
I can't wait to hear this one. So, give me a little bit of background about you, journalism.
Okay. I've started since 2014 as a radio journalist. I was, I think, 24 years by then, 24, 25, something like that, around that. Journalism, it wasn't my interest. And I can say it's just my luck to be in journalism through one of my schoolmates. We studied together. She approached me. Her name also is Eva. And she tried really to convince me to join a radio station, to work with them,
Okay.
and then to do the translation. And I wasn't that serious. I didn't like even something called journalism because of the political news and so on. I was trying hardly to avoid that part. So I kept on asking her, what do you want me exactly to do in the radio
Okay.
station? And she was like, we want you to do translation and so on. I didn't know she was trying, to drag me regularly into the system of the journalism. So my family, they convinced me to go and apply. My brother and then my aunt. So most of them, they helped me out to do the CV and a copy of my certificates. I went, I did the interview. 1 week later, I was called back.
You got through.
Yes.
Which radio station was
It was one of the Catholic radio stations.
I do remember you were at Catholic
Yes.
radio before.
Yeah, the headquarters called Catholic Radio Network, and then the other network called Voice of Hope Radio. It's in Catholic Diocese of Wow. It's actually where I was born.
In Wow.
Yes. So coincidentally, I've started again to give back to where I've started.
Yes.
It was fun when I started there because I love technology. And the moment that I entered the studio, I felt the vibe of ICT.
You knew this is it.
I was like, okay, I can blend there.
Yeah.
So day by day, I've started being introduced to other departments, program, news, how also to edit using the other softwares. Mostly like more of introduction, like as an initial start. But it was fun. It was fun and serious at the same time.
Yes.
Until the task started developing here and there, until I've learned how to run the whole studio by myself. And it wasn't only just to use the studio, but you have to operate the whole radio station.
Yeah.
Once you're on duty, you go early morning around 6 a.m. You switch on the generator. And then afterwards, you go and switch on the transmitter. Afterwards, also, you go and switch on the system.
Yes.
So this is how I've learned how radio also is supposed to operate in the radio.
Yes.
So I was told you have to multitask. You don't have someone else to go and do for you something unless if it's beyond your capacity, then they would call a technician, for instance.
So you had to learn the entire operational process
Yes.
at at radio.
Yes.
Which year was this?
It was 2014.
2014.
Yes, exactly November.
Okay.
Because October I had the interview, and then November I've started.
And what did you didn't have any academic background in journalism at that point?
No.
What did you do in school?
By that time, I quit from the College of Applied Sciences. I didn't like applied and industrial sciences by then. It was at the University of Juba. And I thought of applying for another college. So by that time, there was a bit of political instability.
Yes.
And I was in WOW. And that time I thought of like, why not just to try something new? And until I get the right time to join another college. Back and forth, I was trying to be committed into my new task. At the same time, I was thinking, what's next? What else I can give to myself? It was fun in terms of like learning something new, knowing new people, and also understanding the landscape of South Sudan itself. Coming from Sudan to South Sudan, it's a new country. And then 2014, it was after the fresh conflict of 2013.
Yes.
I had a lot in mind, like how should I serve the country and the nation also, whether directly or indirectly.
Yes.
So I've realized journalism, it's a hub of like
Information.
apart from information, like you can give us free education to people
Right.
in a different way, whether audio, photo, video, script. There are a lot of ways you can connect with people and give them the education or the awareness or the knowledge that they need to know more about South Sudan and the affairs of South Sudan and other countries. Yeah.
What kind of the programs that you were running or the program that you were running at that time, was it?
It was mostly social programs
Okay.
and talking about women and children's rights. Also, moving around the town, there was a nice program called Rizgal
Uh-huh.
talking about people who are relying on hand to mouth, like hustling.
Yes.
And my task was very tough. I didn't know it was a tough program. Every week you should have a new person on your episode. And you should map the whole town. And you need to find an interesting character. Someone who's, someone who's having this sense of humor, someone who can tell you the sad part of his life or her life, and someone also who can tell you the value of life.
Yes.
How they're surviving, how they're feeding their children or the family, how they had started, how they are pushing on in life, even if there is a lot of hardship. This one helped me to be more open with people. Helped me to understand how other people understanding also the landscape of the country.
Yes.
And
from 2014 until when were you there?
I observed only for 1 year. And I developed interest to come to Juba. My former director didn't like it, and he refused to sign my resignation letter. And he was like, I will not take it. Get back with you. So because I made up my mind,
Yes.
I had the ticket ready. I want to go to Juba.
You were leaving, Halas.
Yes.
No way back.
I told my editor, go and convince the director to sign it. And he was like, you know what? You just go, because maybe he's emotional a bit. So I will take it tomorrow in the morning.
Yes.
And I was like, okay. So the next day he took it and then he signed.
Sign it for you.
I asked him to give me a recommendation letter. It was also another struggle.
People don't like to let go of their good, hardworking employees. Yeah.
So I wasn't happy that I would leave the radio at the same time, but I was excited for my next stage.
New journey.
Yes. Then I came to Juba. I came to the former director of Catholic Radio. I told her that I'm here in Juba. Anything you have on your desk, for me, I'm ready.
Yeah.
And she called me. I went to her office and she told me, what if I have for your translation with 10 pounds? That 10 pounds that today it's
Nothing at that
yes.
time was a lot.
It was something, yes. And I told her, even if it's for 1 pound, I want to learn something new.
Yes.
So after like 1 week, she called me in. She was like, why don't you come and do for us production? And I thought, okay, I love production. This is my thing. I will do it. So I've started producing the same magazine that we used to produce in 2014, because it was 2015. And it was towards the end of 2015, heading to 2016. So we're supposed to produce around 60 magazine. It's a weekly magazine about women and children's rights. And it has a lot of topics, very interesting topics, talking about FGM, and then talking also about, girls' education.
Yes.
Talking about women's rights and inheritance and so on. So, yeah, we produce a lot with my co-producer. Usually we have like the magazine in English and then Arabic. And you know how
It was a print magazine.
it's online magazine, audio.
Okay.
We produce 20 minutes to 25 minutes package. Each radio station in each state should produce something, because the topic should have like 4 to 5 sources, and then we give the assignment to each radio station.
Got it.
So
Did you like producing better or being in the studio better?
I love producing. In the studio, you have like, you see funny calls, funny SMS.
I've been there.
I've tried to do that. And I kept on telling my program director, please, I want to be just for production. No. Tomorrow you're going on air. Come on. So I didn't like it because, you have that female voice. And then our other brothers calling in.
Yes.
Hiya Jamila, كيفك? أصبحت كيف?
Every time.
This kind of.
There's always 2 calls that are at least that.
Yes. And for me, I never thought such calls would come in.
Yes.
At my early weeks in radio on air. Then my editor always, he stands like at the other production room. And then through the mirror, and then he will just laugh. He will tell me, continue. You see? And sometimes we have like, funny comments. You don't have to laugh that much. And he always monitors. I like the way he supervised us. And you will never feel like he's only the boss, but he's a brother also at the same time.
Yes.
He looks after your mental health, psychological status, how you perform.
Going back to what you're saying about the funny calls, my first time on radio, on air, by myself.
Okay.
It was iRadio. I got trained by DJ Lomisak at that time.
Okay.
And DJ Lomisak is a pro. He knows how to pivot everything. Yeah. There's no one that can call him and he doesn't know what to say.
Yeah.
So I was with him for like weeks, maybe 2 months at that point. I would go in the radio with him and he was so good. I used to just be so impressed. And then now
love his
love DJ
show. Yeah.
So then now I'm in the studio by myself. It's the first show. I get a funny call. I didn't know what to do. So I just hung up on the person. I hung up on the person, went to I'lanat, and we'll be right back.
You want to have a break.
It was very uncomfortable. I think now it's still uncomfortable, but I know how to handle it better. So I completely understand. I've had many of those awkward moments.
Yeah.
So now at what point did you go into current affairs reporting? Let's say that.
It was when 2016 conflict erupted. And most of the reporters, they ran away. And the editor remained. And I was around. So I kept on going to the office just to look after my production, doing my things smoothly without having this interest of doing political stories. So my former director, she had also to leave.
Okay.
Then she started assigning me to join the news desk. For me, it was like, like the breaking news. And I was like, I'm not ready for that. Maura, you don't want that news desk. And the editor told me, if you will fear, you will never learn. And I told him I don't want it. And then again, we had a conversation with my former director. Her name is Enrica Valentini.
Okay.
And then she was like, you know what, Maura, life is short. Just try to do your best. And I do admire the way she's a hardworking person. And she speaks like 8 languages. And she kept on, even if she doesn't talk too much, but she will give you the sign of, we should multitask,
Yes.
to use the hard way just to give
Learn
your
as
best.
much as you can.
Yes.
Then, yes.
And, talking about that magazine itself, I gave my best to that magazine. That's how I got promoted to the news desk. And joining the news desk, it was tough because you need to network.
Yes.
And program, just socialize. You have something like fun, But this one now, it's something serious about current affairs.
Mm-hmm.
Whether someone will give you a vox pop or not, maybe someone will push you away. I had that scenario also in WOW by then, but I've tried hardly, to dodge news desk in WOW. And then again, I have to fall into the same basket of news desk. And I had just to advise myself, let me just try.
Tried, yes.
I gave it a try and it was worth it.
Like right now, looking back then, what was your favorite story to write about?
Do I remember?
A story that you will continue to think about or it comes up every now and then.
There is a story that I didn't finish.
Until
I
now.
wish if I can finish it. It's a report on human rights.
Uh-huh.
I wish if time can go back again and I can still do the follow-up because of, different issues here and there. Sometimes the sources having their own issues.
Yes.
You fail to finish up
Complete,
a
yes.
certain investigative package or report. So I wish if I can finish that one. If today, when there is availability of the sources, I will go and finish.
Okay. Is it about a person's life?
It's not a person's life. It's about children who were sexually assaulted. And it was in 2017. So because I had only 3 reports, I wish that if I can finish that report, like the last one, to have like the martial court and the verdict and that's it, so I can close the chapter. So I wanted that part.
Got you.
It didn't happen, but I wish it will happen maybe.
Inshallah.
Yeah.
Do you always find yourself as one of very few women standing or the only woman standing when it comes to just current affairs reporting? You have to go listen to press conferences and so on. Are you by yourself? There's 2 of you, 3 of you. What is it usually like?
We are many. There is Ikhlas Henry, and there is Sheila Porni, Winnie Serino. I can maybe say roughly, maybe we are around 20 something.
Okay.
But each one of us having different time that like to cover what, is it worth to be covered?
Being available
Yes.
for, yes.
And our network, it's really good in terms of giving a backup and looking after each other. During that time, because it's sensitive, and it's not only because the sensitive situation, you have to look after each other.
True.
And sometimes when we don't see other colleague showing up, we do say, hi, do you need a
Are you
help?
okay?
Should we visit you? Or we give you more energy to come up? So, yeah, we do check on each other. And this is how we start building up our own, family of female journalists. Socializing, knowing each other, because in case of anything near future, I hope mostly should be positive, not negative.
Yes.
Yeah. And then, we usually used to know our weakness and strength. Who's good at what, who's not good at what, where you're supposed to go, where you're supposed to be.
Yes.
Yeah.
Any challenges worth mentioning as a female journalist?
Not really. I don't want to mention.
Okay.
But
Not
also,
that there's no challenges, you just...
there are plenty of it.
Right.
But, it's based on how you personally overcome those challenges, and how you want to back up yourself. Back up yourself in terms of if this will happen with me, what should I do?
Yes.
And I've learned that you shouldn't be rough with every situation, because if you're rough also on the same situation, we'll end up in a bad shape.
Gotcha.
Mostly it's a bad situation, horrible situations. But alhamdulillah, here I am, surviving,
doing your
pushing
best.
on, doing my best. And with all those challenges, what I would say, we'll keep on surviving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you will. Fast forward, 2016, 17, 18. How many years is that now in journalism you were practicing? A couple of years.
Yeah.
What happened between then, let's say 2018, until 2024, when you became an award-winning journalist?
A lot happened, ups and downs. And for 2017, I've started receiving awards. And it's a bit funny because there was a time I've started evaluating myself in one of the years. I think it was 2 years ago or 3 years ago. I've started counting how many awards and why.
got.
Yes. And why.
Wait, how many awards did you get?
I don't count, to be honest.
More than 3?
I say more than 7.
If I had flowers here, I'd just,
And honestly, I don't count, because it's a lift up stage for what's next. To question myself, what do I want more?
Yes.
Or what do I want to achieve? That day when I sat with myself, evaluating, then I found myself still thirsting for more. I need to do other stuff. And some is still on my list I need to do.
Are there awards you're looking forward to get?
Inshallah, the Nobel Peace Prize.
Oh, that's a big one.
70 or 60.
That's a big one. You can. I mean, you can. Human rights journalism. What does that mean, and what does it look like?
It's not smooth, but you have to be smooth. And it's a very rough, let me say, desk. Because you need to take your time to understand what is human rights. How does it affect people? What are those violations? How does it happen? The types of those violations.
The reason why I asked you to explain what exactly is human rights journalism is because, for one, you're an award-winning human rights journalist, and for two, your most recent project with the BBC was 50 degrees Celsius. It was not only, for me, a human rights project, but also investigative journalism or investigative reporting. Extremely important, extremely needed, and also quite rare that it's done that well in South Sudan. And also on climate.
Yeah.
You know, what made you explore this? What was the purpose?
Well, there is a lot of beautiful things about learning. South Sudan has a lot of things should be reflected. As I've mentioned, you need to invest enough energy, invest enough what? Since the floods started in 2020.
Yes.
By that time, it was my last visit with the security mechanisms to the military sites. And it was in Jonglei State. We went to Panier. It's a swampy area. We traveled by road. It took us like around 13 hours through this Banding Glow Park road. And the water was just like, flowing to the main road, It was just a marathon. I kept on asking the driver, are we lost? I sleep, the car gets stuck, all the other trucks, and then again, they remove the vehicles, and then we move on again.
Process for a very long time.
Actually, it was dark. You just hear the frogs, insects. It was completely dark. And I kept on asking again, are we lost? Are we lost? And he was like, you have to be patient. This is the long, boring road all the way to work. I was like, okay. But the road, it's too much. And he was like, yeah, this road, it used to be like this.
So we went to that site and we stayed there, I think, for 3 or 4 days during weekends. It was from, I think it was Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then I came back Monday, flying back to Juba. So those days it was a bit having some scenarios of seeing the swampy areas. Hearing about snakes bite. Also, it's a poisonous snakes. It's a jungle side also, bushy, and the water covers the whole top of the vehicles because the driver has to dive into the swamp water and then goes outside again, then here and there. It was just more adventurous at this case.
Yes.
By the time I flown back to Juba by air, because I had my papers for the last semester at the University of Juba, the 20 minutes from board to here, one of the officers called me and was like, did you knew that
It's going to flood here? I was like, no. The hotel, it's already flooded. We started packing.
Oh, wow.
And it was not the time that we were supposed to pack. I was like, you're lying. And then he sent me some photos. The water all the way, the water level, just like above the knee. I told him, are you serious? And I was like, yes, this is our situation now. So this is how the floods started. Then afterwards, we had a visit to Unity State. During the floods, I had my first visit to Old Sangat in Upper Nile region. I had the chance also to go through MSF. I've started learning about the floods.
Yes. This is still in 2020.
Yes, 2020, 2021.
Okay.
So during that moment, I've started exploring. I was like, okay, so there's something called climate change. What is climate change? After I finish my duty at CRN, I go online. I just read randomly about climate change. And I read also other stories. And this is how it started like motivating even myself, like you should do this, copy and paste this information. I go back home, and then also, you have to imagine like how you want to do the story to look like.
Yes.
At that time, I used to freelance for Associated Press. So I did my first story, feature story for Old Fangak in floods to Associated Press. Yeah, I took some photos, aerial view, and I interviewed few people. So I didn't know the floods really, the water can keep you alive and also can finish your life.
Yes.
Talking about Unity State, it was completely different because it's an oil producing area and a lot of things happening between the lines there.
Yes.
Took me with the producer, I think, like 6 months. It was on and off communication. How we can produce documentary about floods. And we really focus about floods. I traveled there to do the survey. I took also permit because some of the sites you can't go because it's not accessible for any journalist to go. You need to have that permit. So I had also to seek permit from Bedford. I went there. I did my assessment. I started already getting sick from the information before even film. When I went with the cameraman, my colleague also kept on asking me, is this heat because of this area it's like that? It was 40-something. When we go to a different side, it's somehow flooded. At other side, it's just something else.
Dry.
Other side, like the northern part, it was completely dry, where it has the oil.
Yes.
And then the town itself, from Kona and some other sites, like Benti also, it was completely wet. So that time there was no rain. But the same day we arrived, we had a dust storm. And then the 3 days after, it was completely dry and sunny. Few days after, it was completely wet, rainy. Even they blocked the roads because most of the roads is slippery. And most of the vehicles, where the drivers, they don't drive because of the road is slippery. You're driving and then the mud is sliding you towards the dive. And you might just scratch.
Dangerous.
Yes. So that time I've understood why they're blocking
The road.
Yes. And the same day we arrived, after the dust storm, we had the first visit to the RRC, rehabilitation. While we were there, the dust storm was like, approaching us. And we're like, but when we landed, it was sunny. And now we have a dust storm. After we were done from the introduction and the meeting and whatever, we were heading to the base. It started raining. When we were approaching the base, the mud was slippery. So the driver was struggling. I was like, what? He was like, yes, this is how we are surviving here. And I started learning about the risks, even for the people who are leading there.
Yeah.
It wasn't easy in terms of like you have to balance. On camera, you have to balance. Off camera, you have to balance also. What's next? The good thing we had already our plan, how to shoot, where, how many people. The good thing our sources, I'm grateful that they were available and they poured all the energy also with us into the same.
No, they really did. The documentary is well done as it is, and congratulations, by the way. It was very heartbreaking and difficult for me to watch, like extremely difficult. I think There's the first lady, Nyakuma, I think her name was Nyakuma. We didn't just follow her life for a little bit, but we watched her health deteriorate.
Yeah.
And then the second lady, I can't remember her name,
It's Nyaida.
Nyaida, who left her children.
Yeah.
And there is something that her son says to you. And I think he says, I wish we could sleep with my mother in the same home or something like that. Very painful to hear.
Unfortunately, after the documentary, I remember the cholera outbreak. Nyakuma lost her husband. Yes. Few friends, they called me from there and they were like, we're having a bad news. The husband Sunday, he passed on due to cholera. Yeah.
He was in the documentary.
Yes, he was the one also looking after Nyakuma, the daughter.
That is so sad.
Yes. Yeah.
It was just the entire documentary. It's eye-opening and so much information that we don't know, but really heartbreaking because you realize we almost live in a bubble in Juba.
It's another planet.
How is that for you? Like, for me, I kept thinking about it, and until now, I watched it once, and I don't think I can watch it again just because of how it affected me mentally. You were living it for 6 months, and I assume there's stories that you didn't even tell.
Yeah.
What was that like for you?
It's just like every day I have to revisit myself. After I'm done continuing outside, I go back to the prefab. Again, I have to revisit myself. And usually I've learned like you have to talk to yourself in a way of, listening to some songs, for instance. You need to pray because it needs faith.
It's hard.
So because every day I don't know what will happen. And at the same time, there was like a conflict somewhere.
Yes.
In different parts during that time. I had to pray every day. It's not because I'm filming, but you will never know what will happen. And all of us were at high risk at that place, including those people. For them, maybe they're saying it's normal, but for me, it wasn't normal.
It's not.
But I thought of like, why not to live in their shoes and understand the reality? Because I will be there maybe for 10 days only and then halas, not. But yes, I'm thankful that they gave me the space. I've understood how they live. But it would forever remain. It was not the right way for them to live. Yeah.
No, it was not. And
Because comparing it to Juba, Juba is heaven.
you feel bad for even little things that you complain about. People are living like that. There's a scene where I'm not sure where you traveled to, but they show you the water that they're drinking.
Yeah, it's the northern part of Unity State.
They show you the water and just looking at the water, and this is what they have no choice, or they won't survive.
Yeah.
It's water you can tell from far no human should drink it.
Yeah.
So there are all these, it's just a life that you wonder and you ask. You just have to ask more questions. Why?
Like, for instance, because it's a mixture of who's responsible, who's not responsible, who's able to fix it, who's not able to fix it. For them, they're trying to push on for survival for their families. And a Others are there, some of them they're there just to try to fix it. But some of those parts even, they don't have, a concrete building what like a health facility. Apart from that, the hospital that they have within Bentia.
Yes.
So how about the other areas? Because I was shocked even when the chiefs told me, people now normalizing burying their kids.
Yes, there was a kid that was that they showed you his burial site. Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, it's a dark side.
How are you doing after that experience?
I'm trying to survive. Yeah.
Does it change your does it make you believe more that this is what you're supposed to do?
As I've mentioned earlier, that journalism, it's a big industry. There are a lot of commitment within that basket. So you cannot cover everything, but you will try to do part of it. And it's a personal choice how you want to go with it. And it's a personal choice also for others, how they want to pick up from there. Yeah.
No, thank you for, putting so much energy, so much work, really hard work, the best that I have seen in a very long time to produce this documentary. It was eye-opening and challenging, even for me watching it, as to how do we make our country, our surrounding a better place? Do we need to speak more? It makes you think. So I really want to thank you for getting the documentary done. And for anyone who has not watched it, the documentary is called 50 Degrees Celsius. It's available on YouTube. It's a BBC documentary reporting by one of our best and award-winning, Maura Ajak. Go ahead and watch it. It's heartbreaking, but very important, necessary for us to watch.
It's titled South Sudan Poison Floods.
South Sudan Poison Floods, right. There is 50 degrees Celsius somewhere.
It's the name of the program.
Got you. So yes, go ahead and watch it. Thank you so much, Maura, for being here.
Thanks.
I really enjoyed this conversation. What's next? What should we expect other than the Nobel Peace Prize?
Between me and God.
So we'll just find out
Yes.
on the way. No, thank you so much for being here.